So here's a question we've all been asked 100 times. Which is better, real estate or stock? The reason this is asked so often is because it's not easily answered. There's so many different ways to invest in real estate and in stock. You can't have an honest, accurate conversation without first looking at each one of the subsets of each one of these asset classes. Real estate, you can buy, sell, rent, wholesale, or you can do newer constructions. In stock, you can buy stocks, you can buy bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. You can trade options, or you can trade in the futures market. There's so many different ways to invest in both of these asset classes that make them not an apples to apples comparison. It's really hard to say which is better, right? So these are a few things to consider. First, which one of the subsets within the asset class will you be looking to invest in, right? Second, leveraged or wholly owned. If you buy a house, are you going to buy the house outright? If you have a house for $100,000, are you going to put down $100,000 and own that house outright? Or are you going to finance it with a mortgage through having debts? Same goes for owning stock. If you own stock, if you buy shares of stock, you have to own them outright. You have to plunk down all of that money and buy the stock. But if you own options or futures, there's a leverage aspect there that you can take advantage of, right? So the leveraged aspect of it makes it extremely beneficial, both for real estate and for stock. And there's a lot of examples we could get into right now for the loose overview, just to label the subsets of the asset classes and the fashion in which they're both owned, I think is extremely paramount to the conversation. So moving past that, it's really not even possible to be answered without narrowing in and focusing the conversation. In other words, we could answer this question, real estate or stock, which is better, if we had a conversation like this and said, okay, David, we're going to own a single family property. We're going to leverage it by financing it over 30 years. We're going to rent that property out, and we're going to look at the cash flow, the loan pay down, the market appreciation, and we can look at stock. And we can say, okay, David, we're going to write covered calls on the S&P 500 for the next 30 years. With an example like that, we can take the returns off the property and we take the returns off of writing covered calls off the S&P 500, we can measure them accurately. But just to have the overview conversation of which is better, real estate or stock, it's not able to be answered. But for all intents and purposes, let's have a look at real estate, because that's what we do here. Now, I also invest in both stock, bonds, futures, and real estate, but I own a residential property management company, and real estate is honestly my passion. So let's look at that. Some of the benefits of owning real estate. In my opinion, there's 3 or 4 main benefits. The first of which is monthly cash flow. Let's say your mortgage on a property is $800 per month, but you can collect about $1,100 a month in rent. You now have $300 per month in monthly cash flow. On top of the monthly cash flow, loan pay down. The money you're using to make monthly payments on your mortgage, it isn't your own hard-earned income. It's income from your tenants. So essentially, your tenant is making the monthly payment on the mortgage. Within the mortgage payment, there's an interest portion and there's a principal portion. The principal paid down is what's called equity. Equity over time is value to you. So you have the value through loan pay down, monthly cash flow, and appreciation. On average, it's normal to expect somewhere between 1% to 3% annual appreciation in real estate. It's not a lot, but when you add it in with monthly cash flow and loan pay down, it becomes a significant portion of money every year. And finally, the tax benefits. The IRS allows a tremendous amount of write-offs that are extremely beneficial to people who invest in real estate, so much so that you can create very handsome annual returns, and in some cases, show an annual loss on paper. And we can get further into that. So this is kind of a loose overview of which is better, real estate or stock. It's hard to have the conversation and really answer it without focusing, but in our opinion, we love real estate. We'd love to have a conversation with you if you also think so, Or if you have anything you'd like to ask us, please reach out. We can be reached at our office phone, 856-348-5440, or on the web. Look at the show notes for the URL, and thank you for watching.